So we're still staying on reviewing the economy in 2024 through the eye of the private sector. We have another participant in the private sector now, the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Coleman Wires and Cables, Mr. George Onafowokan. Mr. Onafowokan, good morning and compliments of the season.
Good morning, Ine. Compliments of the season to you and compliments of the season to Nigerians as a whole.
Yeah. So how would you describe the year 2024?
The year 2024, to me, from the manufacturer's perspective, has been one of turbulence to the point of believing we get into stability. So we have a turbulent beginning of the year, which was coming from the end of the year of 2023. And I think for now, we could say we've had a bit of a mixed match between a stable situation, between having a forex that has been consistently at a certain level, that has been manageable. But irrespective, the major word would have been turbulence.
So, okay, so that's it for 2024. But have we started the journey to stability and out of this turbulence?
I mean, in fairness, we might say yes, we have. We're in the right direction to stability. The inconsistencies in policies, in the direction of the economy, has now metamorphosed into a bit more consistency in policy drive, and both on the macro and on the micro. And we're seeing a convergence of both, which we did not see at the beginning of the year. And those convergence is what is resulting in the last quarter of the year, or last two quarters of the year, third quarter, fourth quarter, into a bit of the word stability. And I think those are the watchword that everybody really wants to talk about now going forward into 2025. So the key criteria was what for every manufacturer was looking for the word stability, because with a bit of stable situation in the economy, taking the FX, taking policy, for any manufacturer, it is easier for you to make certain strategic planning decisions. And when you cannot, it becomes a bad to worse scenario for most manufacturers in the country.
Yeah, well, I agree with you talking about stability, because, I mean, a lot of investors, the issue of policy inconsistency, policy somersault, whichever way you want to say it, has been a problem. But are you confident now that perhaps we have gotten to a level of consistency? But of course, especially foreign investors will have to wait for a bit to ensure that we are really on a stable ground.
For me, we're definitely on a stable ground. I'm for one that being a big believer, especially, and I've said it on your show, that look, I'm holding the Naira. So that means they've done something right if you're holding the Naira today. And I only appreciate the Naira being stronger over time. Now, the reality is that there's been a bit of stability, inconsistency, of the inconsistent mismatches we were having. But now you've got the window has been open, the Bloomberg window got open, which actually started, and you can see what happened to the FX scenario. And we've seen a lot more transparency in the FX window. Going forward, I think the stability that everybody wants is a bit more consistency, staying the course. Which would be that, look, you're looking at duty rates for the customs coming down, reflecting the current scenario that we see with the market that's trading around 1,500, and we expect that to actually happen. I'm still not a big believer that the central bank window should be determining the actual window in terms of custom. That, I think, still needs to go, because it should be a fiscal policy issue that affects every manufacturer in this country. And that should not be something that should be determined purely by the total window of a free market. And secondly, in terms of going forward into 2025, I think the key fear for everybody is that things don't go back as 2023 or the beginning of the year of 2024, is things remaining stable. I see that my own view is that we will get a stable 2025. Yes, would it be an astronomical growth? No. Would there be any exceptional differentials between 2024 and 2025? I don't see it. I see a similar scenario, but a more stable scenario in 2025. So the course really for 2025 for anybody, as I would advise, is reduce your risk, stabilize your systems, and just watch. But irrespective, the market will still be stable. We have a lot of things in our advantage now. We're moving away from an import petroleum product dependent country to literally a country that is going to be net positive of its import to export of petroleum products, and most likely by 2026 be a major exporter of petroleum products. And that should see a flip side into our forex scenario and our trade balance. And that should see a stronger Naira towards 2026. And that to me, would allow the market, especially the manufacturers, to foresee a better future. I disagree with a lot of companies that are leaving, but I think what you're going to have by 2026 is everybody coming back in anyway. And with the stability, and I think with the investment plan that everybody see, I see a positive 2026, a stable 2025.
What about in the area of infrastructure, power, transport, logistics, which have been major hitches to growth of businesses? What do you see in those areas?
I think infrastructure spend still needs to be a lot more. There's no country that can work without proper road networks, proper logistic networks. The key thing to any business is the movement of the material, distributive or productive. You need to be able to move the materials across the country and across your logistics of your raw materials coming to you. So those are key factors that I think the government needs to continue to focus on in creating the infrastructure for enabling those businesses to move around. Those are facts. Secondly, the issue of power. The power situation, unfortunately, is abysmal, terrible, not great, but it needs a lot of improvement. The investment has been ruggedly done over the years. It's very wrong for us to quickly blame the current scenario on the current government, because I don't see any infrastructure resolution happening within a year or two. It doesn't happen. Power is not something you solve that quickly. Now, it takes years of solutions, of consistent strategy to actually solve power. I think now that the focus is on trying to solve the power scenario with the national grid, with removal of subsidies, should put a lot of investment into power. But the only thing I want the government to focus on power is because it's to create a supply chain in the country. Because you see, you're going to spend billions of dollars on power, but I don't see the reason why we should be focusing on not localizing the contents of power. Because the more you can keep in the money that you're spending and recirculate the money within your economy, the more you grow your economy. So when you have any deficiency in infrastructure, the focus of that infrastructure solution should be localized, which means creating jobs locally, creating the supply chain locally, as much as you can. It's not possible for us to do that all overnight. So let's not live in Klampoko land yet. But we need to enable the ministries and the agencies to focus on localized solutions. So as you spend billions of dollars on power, you're simultaneously actually solving some SME-related, medium-scale, large-scale related infrastructure and manufacturing deficiencies that you have. But power would always be 40% cost to every manufacturer in Nigeria and above, but it's something we need to continue reviewing. One critical part, I think, of power which the government, I think, needs to instantly review is the cost to gas for oil manufacturers. That thing has been going on for years. I think they did some concessionary gas power for the textile industry about eight years ago. It was supposed to be a general concession. I still do not understand why anybody in Nigeria is paying $8 per thousand score for gas to power when the investment is being done by that industry. We need the same way we've gone with embedded power costs for those generating power at $2, between $2 and $3. I think now is the time to get the manufacturers to enjoy the same benefits if they want a stable 2025. Because if you don't get the cost of power down for every manufacturer in Nigeria instantaneously as a policy, you're still looking at the problem. And that, to me, because most of the plants or factories in Nigeria have already invested in embedded power. So how do you guarantee they create more jobs, employ more people, drive down the cost of that 40% of that power by giving them that $8 discount back to where the other embedded power cost is, between $2 to $3, and then allow them to grow their business? You don't need government in business. You need the policy of government driving private sector business, creating the jobs in the economy.
All right, Mr. Onafowokan, we're out of time, but trust you always have great ideas. I think the fact that we can expect stability in 2025, but I mean, that's nagging issue of power and how much is being paid for gas. Those are conversations that we'll certainly pursue in the coming days. But thank you so much, Chief Executive Officer of Coleman Wires and Cables, Mr. George Onafowokan.
Thank you, Ine. Thank you for having me.